Hello everyone. A very good morning to all. I, Mr. Rutonaran Das, extend my warm welcome to all the participants joining in today's webinar. We have participants joining across the India and abroad as well. The Ranjit Guru Memorial Series of International Webinar is an initiative by the Department of History and Political Science of Jawaharlal Nehru Mahavidyalaya, Cuttack, in a close collaboration with Center for Adivasi Research and Development, Odisha. It is
in India, new education policy in India. Since time immemorial, the entire mankind is exposed to a male-dominated world order. Lord Alfred Tennyson, the Victorian poet, sang as a missionist, the man for the field and woman for the health, he for the pro and she for nourishment, be man to command and woman to obey. But gone are those days, and feminism has replaced male domination. It is a socio-political slogan in India to focus elaborately on the topic domestic violence and healthcare issue in India. I would also request
professional experience in the area of training and development for about 2 decades. He has been a senior of India, Government of UP and UNDP projects. He has held more than 25 positions of responsibilities and tasks in various prestigious organizations. His role as an academic leader, institution builder, and academic administrator is outstanding. Research, developed infrastructure, and injected transparency and accountability in the system in order to make it more effective and proactive. His transformational leadership qualities reflect in the initiatives like Adopt a Tree, Adopt a Village, Eco Drive, Clean Up Campaign, and lots more. Really, sir, your achievements are unending and we have no words to express all your good and noble deeds. Sir, I thanks a lot to you for taking out your valuable time and connecting with us. Sir, your topic as suggested.
So domestic violence is assuming that this circle is all forms of violence which is directed against people because of their gender. So violence which is directed against a third gender person, the police are going and harassing the third gender people. So that is gender-based violence or violence directed against any person because of his or her gender. Within that is a smaller subset of violence which is directed against only women and girls. Within that is violence which happens inside the space of the home. So violence can happen on the street, violence can be done by police, by the state, by strangers, or it can be done by family members inside the home. That is domestic violence. And a sub-part of domestic violence is intimate partner violence or violence which is done by the partner, by the husband or by the spouse or by the wife. So even the wife can inflict violence on the partner, on the husband. But statistically, the number of cases of violence, especially extreme physical or sexual violence, is more in terms of numbers, is perpetrated more against the women. More numbers of women are survivors of extreme forms of physical or sexual violence. And so today, primarily, we will be focusing on that component where the survivor within the home, the survivor of violence, or the victim of violence is the woman. And the one doing the violence is the husband. But I will say here once more that this is not to say that all men are perpetrators and all women are only suffering violence. It is a very complicated role. We both can be perpetrators at one time. I can be both a perpetrator and I can be both a survivor of violence. So in the office, when I'm working as the female boss, even if I'm a woman, I can be doing some form of violence on my male juniors or my male students. I can be doing them, I can be doing psychological violence on them. When I'm going back home as the woman, maybe my husband is shouting at me that why did you come home late. So back at home I become the survivor of violence. Then when my maid servant comes to work at my house, I again become the perpetrator. Then I'm shouting at her, or maybe I'm denying her salary. I'm saying you did not come for 3 days, I will cut your salary. So we keep shifting in our roles. But for today's main focus, we will be looking at women as survivor of violence. In India, domestic violence is a major problem. Domestic violence, a lot of it, we feel that it's okay for a husband to, beat the wife, to shout at the wife, shouting and controlling behaviors. Oftentimes we feel it's very normal. Do you think that, shouting, a husband shouting at the wife or trying to control the wife or checking her phone, that who did you call? Why did you talk to your mother for so long? Who will pay your phone bills? Do you feel that it is a normal part of marriage, and is it okay to have these conflicts in a marriage? Is it okay for the husband to check the wife's mobile phone or to keep controlling her movements? Where are you going? Who do you want to meet? So I would again like some answers of such controlling behaviors. Two examples I gave: checking her phone and controlling her mobility outside the house. It is okay, not okay, or you're not sure? Sangeeta Das says not okay. SK Imran is not sure. Deepti Nanda not okay. Rashmi Rekha not okay. Dr. Bikram not okay. Vijaya not sure. Okay. Vijaya Sahu, can I request you, Vijaya Sahu, to please just type in a line as to why you are not sure? Can you please do that? SK Imran also, maybe. SK Imran, can you please indulge me for a minute and just tell me why you're not sure that checking the wife's mobile phone and asking her where are you going? Maybe it's okay, maybe it's not okay. Why are you not sure? SK Imran and Vijaya. A lot of people have said that it's not okay, and thank you all for your responses. So we will wait to hear from Vijaya Sahu and SK Imran why it is not okay. This is just to keep the interaction on, and it's not really any form of like right or wrong out there. It's all about what we think, and face-to-face interaction is not possible on an online webinar. That's why I'm asking you to type in. Just a few words would be absolutely fine. But as we wait for them to go on, let's just move on and look at what is the condition of domestic violence in India. So while we have just touched upon the fact that in a lot of households we are okay at times, we are not sure that if this is okay or not okay, that within a husband-wife relationship, a bit of shouting, a bit of checking of mobile phones is fine. Now, I would just like to ask all of you to reflect on the opposite scenario, that if we think it's okay at times for a husband to come and check his wife's mobile phone or ask her where did you go, who did you meet, etc. If the same wife did it for the husband and the husband was fine with that, then probably we can say there is equality in the relationship, and both the husband and the wife, they check each other's mobile phone. So probably in that particular relationship there is no violence, probably. So if it is equal, if it is the same from both sides, then probably it's fine. But usually that is not the case, and it's really not a rural urban thing that people who are poor, they beat up their wives more, they drink alcohol and they come home and beat up their wives. This is an idea a lot of us have. Even I used to have it before I moved to Bihar and started working, and I started looking at the data on domestic violence, and I realized It is all around us. It is in our extended families. Unfortunately, probably in some of our immediate families also. We just have to look around a bit. So I have cousins who are in the United Kingdom, and after 8 years of marriage, I recently got to know that she was being physically abused by the husband for many years. So it's not really a class thing. Okay, so thank you, SK Imran. Thank you for responding. You have written that is the husband is asking casually checking the mobile phone. It's okay. I completely agree. If he's casually checking the mobile phone, and in that case, I would expect that this particular husband would also allow the wife to casually check his mobile phone. If that is the case, then we are really nobody to comment on their relationship. Thank you so much. Bikram Mohapatra, domestic violence by the female and for the female in most of the cases. How do we change the mindset of the community, ma'am? Thank you for the question. We'll try to go to there by the time I have ended the presentation. So I have taken up, just a minute, yeah. Okay, so we will come to that question. We will come to that question, Bikram. Thank you. So 30% of women face domestic violence in India, and this is sort of underreporting, we can say, but this is the national level data, the largest data set we have. According to this data, this is not what I am saying. This is the statistics, which is saying the government of India collected data in 2016, which is the most recent data. Most of it is inflicted by the husband. Others by family members, mothers-in-law, sisters-in-law. They are also very common perpetrators. And a lot of women get physical injuries because of the domestic violence. They're beaten up, they have fractured bones, and so on. Slapping the wife has come up as the most common form of violence. You are just angry, you come and you give a slap on the face of your wife or partner. Some of you or many of you might have watched this movie. If you can watch it at some point, I would strongly recommend you to watch it, because it really shows that one slap is not really just one slap, because a lot of things lie behind that one slap. Why is it that we find it okay to come home and take out the frustration on the more powerless person? So it could be the wife, it could be the children. We just come home and take our frustration out on them. Is it just a slap or maybe not? The World Health Organization, as well as the ministry, the government of India, defines violence into 4 categories. There are 4 types of domestic violence: physical violence, beating, slapping, pushing; sexual violence, not letting the wife use any family planning methods, having forceful sex without her consent; psychological violence, always threatening her, shouting at her, not hitting her, but always keeping her in fear; and financial violence, not giving her any money for her needs or taking away her salary, taking away her money. Recognizing that there has to be something has to be done about it, the government of India in 2005 has implemented an act, which in short is called the Domestic Violence Act, or the DV Act. Now, there are some reasons why violence happened. I think a few of you asked the question, why violence happens. There are many explanations of why violence happens. I have taken up 3 or 4 primary ones. There is a lot of power imbalance in society. Our society is primarily a patriarchal society, which was mentioned before I started my talk today also. There's a lot of frustration, aggression. It's called the frustration aggression theory, and a lot of social learning. So as children grow up, they learn what they see. So they see that little bit of shouting, a few slaps is okay. It happens. It's happening with my parents. So the children learn to do that or to experience that. So I can also learn to go and give a slap to my female partner. When I grow up, my boyfriend loves me. Once or twice he will shout at me. Once or twice he will slap me. But then he'll also come and give me chocolates. He'll tell me sorry. So then we will all again live happily ever after. So we learn what we see. I would request all of you to search on Google a small ad by Madhuri Dixit called Boys Don't Cry. So it was an awareness ad on how patriarchy makes our lives difficult, not just for women, but for men also. So it's not that men are always having a very great time under patriarchy and women are the sufferers. Men also suffer patriarchy in very silent ways. So Boys Don't Cry is a 1 or 2 minute video. Please go and watch it at some later point. So these are the reasons, and then there are triggers. Triggers are something that some crisis aggravates it. So issue of dowry, we have the problem of dowry in our society. There is a lot of pressure on the woman that next time you have to have a male child. If you don't give birth to a son, we will throw you out of the house. We will get your husband remarried, etc. And alcohol, etc. These are triggers. As I just said, there are lots of health consequences of violence: fractures, burns, poisoning, depression. The woman might try to commit suicide that after suffering violence for a long time. What happened is that data shows, studies have shown that whenever there is an epidemic, whenever there is a public health crisis like the cholera or the Ebola or now the COVID, we actually tend to, the women and girls take on a major share of the burden, because one is that they are already, because of their gender, because of their biological sex, because of the fact that they are women, they are already at a disadvantaged position, and then poverty comes in, and then of course the consequences of lockdown. So how did the lockdown affect DV? I will take 5 minutes, but I will ask again 3-4 of you to just write down 1 or 2 words as to how do you think the lockdown affect domestic violence. So we just went through what is domestic violence. What do you think could have been the causes of why the lockdown affected domestic violence? After this, I have 4 more slides I'll end. So if you can just take 30 seconds and write down. What happened in the domestic, in the COVID that okay, Alekha Ghadai has asked, do you think that domestic violence against women during the pandemic is solely engineered by their male counterparts? No, Alekha, not at all. It's, as I said, under reasons, its first reason was power imbalance. So people who have power, more power inside the family. So it could be the mother-in-law. So the mother-in-law will also inflict violence on the daughter-in-law. So it's not just the male, females also inflict domestic violence on other female. It's about power. Who has more power in that situation? Mother-in-law might be getting beaten up by the father-in-law, but as the mother-in-law, I have power over my younger daughter-in-law. So it's a question of power, definitely not only men. So let me just check if any of you have responded to what happened during the COVID. Shortage of financial income by males and increase in depression. Absolutely, SK Imran, thank you so much. Dr. Bikram has said spend much more time with each other. Yes. So men are not being able to go to these. So the abusers could be the father-in-law is the abuser. Maybe the husband is a nice man. I work with on a project on domestic violence. So we do get cases where the husband is not beating up. It's other members of the in-laws. But all the abusers are in the house, stuck for days and days together. So absolutely, thank you. When husbands are forced to stay whole day in home, they shout their frustration over women, over children, also at times. Shubham Das, thank you so much. These are some of the responses, and you all have just covered almost all of them. People are stuck at home. There's a drop in income. So I'm always worried about where will I get my next meal from? And there are so many mouths in the family to feed. I'm frustrated. I take it out on my children. I take it out on my wife. My wife takes it out on the children. So violence goes from one generation to another. Reduced access to resources at home, increased frustration, helplessness. Taking it out on the relatively powerless. The United Nations has declared domestic violence as a shadow pandemic. So the pandemic is the COVID-20, the COVID infections all around us, and the domestic violence is the shadow pandemic. Maybe I will come to a couple of narratives if there is time at the end, if discussion warrants it. But what can we do that is doable? It feels nice to say that we should stop domestic violence, the state should become more aware, we should all change our mindsets. But as questions have also come up, it's not easy to change mindsets. We all are part of that. We all are party to that. All of us, we are in some ways a perpetrator, directly, indirectly. Our class is a perpetrator in some sense. Helplines, there are lots of states have set up Mahila helplines where Bihar, the state I work in, has active helplines where women call up and ask for help. Lives, LIVES, this is a particular acronym. It's a short form for a particular type of psychological counseling. It's a form of counseling which is developed by the WHO, the World Health Organization. And this is a counseling for which you do not have to be a trained psychologist. Anybody can learn it in a couple of hours, and we can all give basic emotional support to people. So the form of counseling, that is LIVES, where you listen, it's an acronym, I can come to that later, but it's about providing psychological support to a survivor of violence, to a victim. Some states like Rajasthan, they have counselors sitting at the police station. So when that a woman goes and says that I have been beaten up at home, I need help. So one thing is to file her FIR, but the other is to counsel her, give her moral and emotional support. A lot of awareness drives in the communities. Kerala government has been doing it during the pandemic. Rajasthan government has been doing it during the pandemic, using the network of some NGOs, involving the community through awareness programs and drives, if we can do that. Setting up protocols like the Bihar government has done of how to respond to violence, because hospitals are understaffed, pandemic is there. Still, how do you blend in your support for domestic violence survivors? So yes, ultimately together we can stop it. Rudranarayan Das, thank you for that question. Does domestic violence happen in gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender relationships? Yes, it happens. It is a question of power. Two people are in a relationship. While most commonly we see that the man is societally, culturally, the man is in a better position of power usually, so he's abusing the woman. But in even same-sex relationships or transgender relationships, the component of power will play up. One person will become more powerful generally. It's very common, and will take out the power in very aggressive ways on the other partner. So whenever there is a power imbalance in a relationship, parent-child, power imbalance, healthy and sick, power imbalance, teacher-student, power imbalance, all power imbalance relationships have a potential for violence. Now, it depends on the two people to see that if, despite the power imbalance, they can make their relationship more equal. But yes, they will have it unless they are very careful about it. Any other questions? So this was my last slide, and I can take questions on the chat. I think the chat is working fine. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, for explaining the concept in a very excellent way.
Thank you, Payal.
Yes, it is true that patriarchy, it hampers a woman's dignity, but at the same time it also hampers men's enjoyment. Ma'am, we can take the question and answer session during the last. Now I'd like to invite Professor Dharmendra Singh Sengar to initiate his talk. Over to Professor Sengar.
Requested to unmute Professor Sengar.
I will request Professor Dharmendra Singh Sengar to please unmute his mic so that we can listen to him. Okay, if I think he has some network issues. So now I'd like to invite Professor Kailash Chandra Sharma to initiate his talk.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So first of all, I think I must thank Dr. Bikram to share my some thoughts with you all and inviting me for this webinar. And I am also thankful to the principal of the college and the other dignitaries. In July last week, on 27th July. In our country, we had one important shifting. I can say it was an important step taken by the national government, and that was the National Education Policy 2020 was adopted. And after about 34 years, we have now a new education policy to be implemented in the country. See, previously also the commissions were formed, some committees were constituted, recommendations came, and in 1986 we had the last education policy. Before that, the policy was uh, based on Kothari Commission 1958. Uh, Kothari Commission worked for 2 years, 54 to 66, and out of that, the 68 policy came. But see, every time it is said, maybe it is the education policy 68 or 86, or maybe other recommendations. For example, for higher education, Dr. Yashpal gave some very good ideas. But irony is that the implementation part was not taken seriously, and only one or two some initiatives based on the policies were taken, and the remaining part uh, was not there. So all the educationists, the social activists, and those who think about the education of the country, they always said that we don't have the education policy for the country, which is based on our ethos, based on our requirements. So it was not an Indian education policy. And generally it was that the policy was based on the recommendations of Natal. So I think all those questions during the last 70 years are addressed in this policy, and some important aspects of this policy are, first of all, the policy has described the aim of education and what is the principle of education. And this definition is as per the educationists and thinkers about the society. Secondly, what are the present issues of the country? These are discussed in detail. What can be the questions, the issues in the future of the country and of the world? This part is well taken. This education policy 2020 is Bharat Kendrit, Bharat centric. At the same time, it has world view, वैश्विक दृष्टिकोण भी इस education policy में. Some perennial issues were there in the country. For example, socio-economic and underprivileged groups, they were not well taken. Of course, some reservation policy and all that were there. Still, the underprivileged and socio-economically backward persons, they are awaiting the fruits of the independence. Then about financing of education, particularly higher education, I would say, it is not well taken. And by and again, our recommendations in the through the policies came that at least for the first time, Kothari Commission said at least 6% of GDP should be invested in education, but it is not done. This present government has increased the share of budget for education, but still it is not going beyond 4%. So at least 6%. At least means minimum 6% should be there. And regarding purpose of education, what type of education we want to give to our children? Purpose of education is, I think, very much misunderstood by the government persons, by the educators, and generally. For example, nowadays we say the institutions should provide the education from where highest placement can take place. Parents say that our children should have the education through which they can have good jobs. Political parties, political persons, everybody. That means education is for the purpose of job. I would say many of you might be surprised that in Sanskrit there is no any word of berozgari, no any word like berozgari. Unemployment word was there in the Western countries, and it was translated into berozgari, but there is no word in Sanskrit. Why it is so? क्योंकि भारतवर्ष में रोजगार ये समस्या थी नहीं. छोटे छोटे कुटीर उद्योग, small scale industries in every village, every town, and it was dependent on the family systems. After taking high education, many persons came to their family business. So there was no any issue like that. In campuses, nobody issued about after doing my graduation or post graduation or higher education, means PhD, etc. What will happen, whether I will get job or not. But after, I think after 8th, 9th, that is the only point of view being discussed by everybody कि अब इस बच्चे का क्या हुआ, इसको कौन सी डायरेक्शन में जाना चाहिए. And we started in our society this culture of tuitions that has come. Culture of tuitions is very recent. It is only 3-4 decades back that the students went to coaching classes, and now coaching classes are in the central state. So this is because this thing रोजगारी चाहिए, रोजगार चाहिए, जॉब चाहिए, और ऐसे कोर्सेज जो जॉब प्रोवाइड करते हैं, तो पर्पस ऑफ एजुकेशन हमारा बदल गया. और हमने हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस के अंदर अधिकांश जो नए इंस्टीट्यूशंस खुले, जो प्राइवेट इंस्टीट्यूशंस खुले, उन सब इंस्टीट्यूशंस के अंदर आपको या तो इंजीनियरिंग मिलेगा, नहीं तो MBA वगैरह मिलेगा, एनी टाइप ऑफ प्रोफेशनल कोर्सेज. लेकिन जो एकेडमिक कोर्सेज हैं, उन कोर्सेज को जो पर्टिकुलरली जो निजी जो विश्वविद्यालय और महाविद्यालय हैं या विद्यालय हैं, कोई उनको टेकअप नहीं करता है. तो ये एक विशेष बात थी कि भारत केंद्रित शिक्षा जब होती है तो उसमें बालक के समग्र विकास की एक इंटीग्रल अप्रोच लेकर के, और इसलिए नॉर्मली ये कहा जाता है हेड, हैंड एंड हार्ट, तीनों का यदि डेवलपमेंट होगा स्टूडेंट का, तो वो एक समग्र विकास कहलाएगा. वो एक कंप्लीट पर्सनालिटी बनकर के निकलेगा कैंपस से, और ऐसा व्यक्ति कैपेसिटी वाला होगा. कैपेसिटी वाला व्यक्ति, क्षमतावान जो व्यक्ति होता है, वो किसी की तरफ हाथ नहीं फैलाता है. दुर्भाग्य यह है कि आज हम हाथ फैलाने वाले युवकों को कैंपस से बाहर भेजते हैं, और इसलिए चारों तरफ, अब वो एजुकेटेड हो या अनएजुकेटेड, जॉबलेस कोई होना, ये तो दुर्भाग्य की बात है. ये होना ही नहीं चाहिए. हमारी पॉलिसीज ऐसी नहीं होनी चाहिए, इकोनॉमिक सोशल पॉलिसीज ऐसी होनी चाहिए कि किसी को जॉब नहीं मिल रहा है, यानी उसकी आजीविका वो नहीं कमा पा रहा है, ये तो दुर्भाग्य की बात है। लेकिन ये इसलिए हुआ कि ओवर द इयर्स हम लोगों को बड़े इंडस्ट्रीज चाहिए थे। बिना बड़े इंडस्ट्रीज के कोई डेवलपमेंट आज के समय में नहीं सोच सकता। लेकिन एट द सेम टाइम हम लोगों ने हमारे जो कुटीर उद्योग हैं, जो स्मॉल स्केल जो ग्रुप्स काम करते थे, उनको हमने नष्ट कर दिया। और साथ में हमने उनको जोड़ दिया कि ये जो काम है, ये जो जॉब है, ये जॉब छोटा होता है और ये जॉब बड़ा होता है। व्हाइट कॉलर जॉब चाहे उसको पैसा कितना भी मिले, व्हाइट कॉलर जॉब ठीक है। किसी के घर में 100 एकड़ 100 एकड़ जमीन है तो भी वो कहता है कि हमें जो है ना एक परमानेंट जॉब दे दीजिए, चपरासी का जॉब दे दीजिए, क्लास 4 का जॉब दे दीजिए। यानी 100 एकड़ जो लैंड का मालिक है वो भी लोगों के यहाँ पर क्योंकि अप्रोच बदल गई सब। स्वाभिमान शून्यता निर्माण हो गई समाज में लोगों की। मैं मैं एक कैपेसिटी वाला व्यक्ति हूँ और मैं जो जो एक जो गीत बहुत प्रसिद्ध हुआ था, मनुष्य तू बड़ा महान, और तू कहीं से भी पत्थर तोड़ करके पानी निकाल सकता है, तेरी ये कैपेसिटी है। उसके बावजूद लोगों के सामने हाथ फैलाने वाले मनुष्य हमने बनाना शुरू कर दिया। और इसके कारण से दिक्कत ये हुई कि जहां जो ज्यादा पैसा देता है लोग वहां भागते हैं। और इसलिए हमारे जो अच्छे इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, आईआईटी वगैरह, उनसे भी निकलने वाले हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं, वो स्टूडेंट्स सब बाहर की ओर, विदेश की ओर देखते हैं कि वहां से हमें पैकेज मिलेगा। दैट इज नॉट द पर्पज ऑफ एजुकेशन। ये ऐसे बालक का विकास समग्र विकास नहीं कहलाता है। ऐसे ही एजुकेशन की जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव बातें हैं उनके ऊपर भी बहुत जरूरत है। जिस प्रकार का आप पर्पज एजुकेशन का है, वैसे ही इंस्टीट्यूशन चाहिए, वैसे ही इंस्टीट्यूशंस का प्रशासन चाहिए। ओवर द इयर्स हमारे कैंपस से रिसर्च, क्वालिटी रिसर्च, ये गायब हो गई। और इसलिए हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर को कहना पड़ा कि भाई हम ये कहते हैं जय जवान जय विज्ञान जय किसान, लेकिन अब जय अनुसंधान कहना चाहिए। यानी फोकस ऑन रिसर्च, अनुसंधान पे जोर लगाइए और भारत को और दुनिया को क्या चाहिए उसके ऊपर अनुसंधान करिए। केवल हमारे जो पर्टिकुलरली जो हायर एजुकेशन के इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनमें रिसर्च केवल पब्लिकेशन का एक वो बन गया। और पब्लिकेशन कैसा भी हो, लेकिन वो मेरे उसमें पर्सनल प्रमोशन में वो पब्लिकेशन सहायक है, तो मेरे को बस वो करना है। मुझे रिसर्च करनी है और क्वालिटी पेपर्स पब्लिश करने हैं, और जिनका सोसाइटी के लिए मे बी इट इज ए गुड फंडामेंटल रिसर्च और अप्लाइड रिसर्च, लेकिन वो उपयोगी होना चाहिए, सोसाइटी के लिए उपयोगी होना चाहिए। वो रिसर्च हमारे कैंपस से गायब हो गई। और इसलिए क्वालिटी रिसर्च के ऊपर ध्यान देने की बात इस एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में कही गई है। स्वायत्ता का विषय हम बहुत बार कहते हैं, ऑटोनॉमी ऑफ हायर एजुकेशन, ऑटोनॉमी ऑफ एजुकेशन, इसकी बात हम लगातार कहते हैं। ऑटोनॉमी का बहुत प्रश्न है। और आई हैव बीन वाइस चांसलर ऑफ यूनिवर्सिटी फॉर सम इयर्स। आई फाइंड दैट ये जो ऑटोनॉमी वर्ड है ये बहुत कन्वीनियंस का वर्ड हो गया लोगों के लिए। जब आपके काम करने के अंदर किसी प्रकार की कोई पाबंदी या छोटा मोटा व्यवधान आता है तो आपको ऑटोनॉमी चाहिए, लेकिन आप किसी के लिए काम करने के लिए व्यवधान बनते हैं, बाधा बनते हैं, तब आपको ऑटोनॉमी का ध्यान नहीं आता है। गवर्नमेंट्स का ये कहना शुरू हो गया है बिकॉज वी इन्वेस्ट इन एजुकेशन, और इसलिए हमारा अधिकार है कि हम एजुकेशन में दखल करें। तो कुछ पैसा देने से एजुकेशन में दखल करना, ये अधिकार प्राप्त करना, ये क्या है? लेकिन पैसा लेना और उसका ठीक से हिसाब नहीं देना, ये क्या ऑटोनॉमी है? तो ऑटोनॉमी विद अकाउंटेबिलिटी ये गायब हो गया। और एक दो प्रकार के बातें हो गई। एक पक्ष कहने लगा कि ऑटोनॉमी हायर एजुकेशन की और एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन की ऑटोनॉमी गायब हो गई, गवर्नमेंट इंस्टीट्यूशन की। और दूसरा ये कहने लगा कि ये क्या ऑटोनॉमी है भाई, कि अपनी फैमिली के ही लोग हैं वो चांसलर बन रहे हैं, वाइस चांसलर बन रहे हैं, बाकी जो गांव के मैनेजमेंट के हैं वो फैमिली रिलेटिव्स वही बन रहे हैं। मीन्स इन प्राइवेट एजुकेशन ये हो गया कि वो टोटल, वो ये कहते हैं कि जो छोटे मोटे भी यूजीसी डायरेक्शन देता है वो डायरेक्शन भी हमें मत दीजिए। तो वो जो कुछ है ऑटोनॉमी के नाम पे, जिसको लोग कहते हैं कि ये तो सब एक तरह से एजुकेशन के साथ में बहुत खराब बात है कि इस प्रकार से फैमिली बिजनेस बन गया है एजुकेशन। तो वो इस पे प्रश्न उठाते हैं कि ऐसी ऑटोनॉमी नहीं चाहिए और गवर्नमेंट को दखल होना चाहिए। और उनको ये लगता है कि गवर्नमेंट 1% भी हमें दखल नहीं दे। दिस mismanagement regarding the thinking about autonomy, ये भारतवर्ष के अंदर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस के कारण के बारे में, तो इसके बारे में डिटेल के अंदर इस एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में तो इंटरनेशनल जो एजुकेशन का व्यू पॉइंट है, इसके बारे में भी जैसे मैंने कहा कि केवल ये एक व्यू बन गया कि यहाँ से एजुकेशन लीजिए और बाहर जाइए, या बाहर के इंस्टीट्यूशंस में ही अच्छी एजुकेशन मिल रही है। तो बाहर के ही इंस्टीट्यूशन में अच्छी मिल रही है तो अमेरिका और यूरोप के अंदर भारत के आईटीएंस क्यों स्वीकार किए जा रहे हैं? इसका मतलब यह है कि भारत के इंस्टीट्यूशंस अच्छी एजुकेशन दे सकते हैं, देते हैं। तो भारत बाहर के लोगों को भी लगता है कि कुछ इंस्टीट्यूट भारत के बहुत अच्छे हैं, लेकिन भारत का दृष्टिकोण एजुकेशन के बारे में और रिगार्डिंग हेल्थ बहुत क्लियर था कि शिक्षा और चिकित्सा ये दोनों दुनिया के लिए फ्री होने चाहिए। और इसलिए बाहर से, विदेशों से बहुत लोग भारत में आकर के पढ़ के जाते थे। और उस जमाने में भारत से बाहर कोई जा रहा है ये बहुत कम था। भारत से ज्ञान लेने के लिए, एजुकेशन लेने के लिए बहुत लोग आते थे। आज की स्टेज में है कि भारत से बाहर भी जाना है किसी को जाए, लेकिन भारत के अंदर भी बहुत बाहर से लोग आने चाहिए। और इसलिए एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में ये एक इंडिकेशन दिया गया है कि अबाउट 100 टॉप ऐसे क्वालिटी एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन को छांट करके और उनको इंटरनेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस के साथ कोलैबोरेशन की सुविधा दी जाए, जिससे वहां के और यहाँ के स्टूडेंट्स का, टीचर्स का एक्सचेंज हो सके। तो इस पे भी बहुत अच्छा इस पॉलिसी में एक इंडिकेशन है। टेक्नोलॉजी आज की आवश्यकता है। टेक्नोलॉजी के एडवांसमेंट्स लगातार हो रहे हैं। अब सब लोग कह रहे हैं कि जितना एडवांसमेंट टेक्नोलॉजी में हो गया है तो आने वाले समय में जो जिस प्रकार से टेक्नोलॉजी मनुष्य जीवन के लिए एक आवश्यक पार्ट बन जाएगा, तो टेक्नोलॉजी एनहांसमेंट हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशन में होना चाहिए और उनकी ट्रेनिंग हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को होनी चाहिए। इसलिए उनको स्किल्स के बारे में जानकारी हो, उनके डिफरेंट टाइप के जो पोर्टल्स हैं उनके ऊपर कैसे हम काम कर सकते हैं, उस पे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस ये आने वाले समाज की एक आवश्यकता बनेगी। इन सब का नॉलेज होना, प्रैक्टिस करना, ये आज के हमारे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए जरूरी है। और इसलिए ये भी कहा है कि इसको ध्यान देने के लिए एक नेशनल टेक्नोलॉजिकल फाउंडेशन हम बनाएंगे जो इसके ऊपर ध्यान दे। और आने वाले समय के अंदर लगभग सारे हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन में आने वाले स्टूडेंट्स में से लगभग 50% को हम 2025 तक, 2025 तक हम 50% स्टूडेंट्स को ये टेक्नोलॉजी ये उपलब्ध करा सकें। इस प्रकार का गवर्नमेंट का मानस थ्रू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी आया है। ऐसे ही रिसर्च पे ध्यान देने के लिए नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन की बात की गई है। और बाकी जो कुछ विशेष बातें हैं वो मैं कुछ बातें और आपसे शेयर करूंगा। एक बात कही गई है रिगार्डिंग स्कूल एजुकेशन। स्कूल एजुकेशन में ये कहा है कि 2 से 8 वर्ष की आयु में सब प्रकार की भाषाएं जानने की कैपेसिटी स्टूडेंट में होती है। इसलिए कम से कम 5th तक या 8th क्लास तक स्टूडेंट्स को अपनी मातृभाषा में, मदर लैंग्वेज में उसको एजुकेशन उपलब्ध होना चाहिए। ये व्यवस्थाएं करने की आवश्यकता है। ये महत्व क्यों रखता है? ये महत्व इसलिए रखता है कि हमारे समाज की साइकी ये हो गई है कि जो कोई अंग्रेजी के अंदर पढ़ेगा, लिखेगा, अंग्रेजी बोलेगा और अंग्रेजी लिखेगा, उसी को सब प्रकार की अच्छे जॉब्स मिलेंगे, अच्छे स्टेटस मिलेंगे, बाहर भी उसको जाना होगा, बाहर भी वो अच्छे धन कमा करके लाएगा। ये एक साइकी बनने के कारण से बाकी हमारे भारतवर्ष के जो लैंग्वेजेस हैं उनको अंडरमाइन करना शुरू कर दिया और संस्कृत को तो डेड लैंग्वेज भी लोगों ने कहना शुरू कर दिया। तो मुझे लगता है कि ये एक बहुत बड़ा स्टेप इस पॉलिसी के अंदर कहा गया है कि फिफ्थ, एटलीस्ट फिफ्थ और नहीं तो एट्थ तक तो मदर लैंग्वेज में उसको पढ़ने की सुविधा होनी चाहिए। और उसके बाद में वो जो लैंग्वेज पढ़े, कोई दो लैंग्वेज वो लेकर के पढ़े, अप टू हायर एजुकेशन उसको कोई भी लैंग्वेजेस पढ़ने की छूट है, क्योंकि वो उसके ऊपर बिना मन के ऊपर, बिना उसके मस्तिष्क पर प्रेशर डाले मदर लैंग्वेज में वो आसानी से चीजों को सीख सकेगा। और इसलिए 5+4+4 की जो व्यवस्था इन्होंने सुझाई है, यानी 5 साल वो स्कूल में रहेगा लेकिन उसको फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड इन 5 सालों में मिलेगा। तो अप टू 8 इयर्स फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड वो क्लियर करेगा। उसके बाद में उसके आगे की स्कूलिंग की व्यवस्था होगी और उसके बाद में आगे 4 इयर्स का ग्रेजुएशन वगैरह का हायर एजुकेशन का पार्ट रहेगा। तो ये एक इम्पॉर्टेंट बात है। लैंग्वेज के ऊपर बहुत कुछ इस पॉलिसी में कहा गया है। लैंग्वेज इज नॉट ए मीडियम ऑफ द इंस्ट्रक्शंस। लैंग्वेज एक तरह का कल्चर है और उस कल्चर के बिना लोगों को उसकी पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट करने के अंदर बहुत सारी बातें गई हैं। इट इज ए साइंटिफिक अप्रोच। तो इसके ऊपर एक ध्यान दिया गया है इस पॉलिसी के अंदर। दूसरा एक इम्पॉर्टेंट स्टूडेंट्स के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से ध्यान गया है, वो ये है कि अब तक हम सब्जेक्ट्स को, स्टूडेंट्स को जो सब्जेक्ट्स देते हैं वो रेजिमेंटेड ढंग से देते हैं। 3 फैकल्टी हमने बनाई है, उन 3 फैकल्टी में एक डेफिनेट नंबर ऑफ सब्जेक्ट है, केवल उन्हीं का कॉम्बिनेशन वो लेकर के अपनी हायर एजुकेशन को पूरी करेगा। इस पॉलिसी में ये कहा गया कि दिस रेजिमेंटेशन शुड गो, और उसको उसकी चॉइस को वाइडन करना चाहिए। अब जैसे सीबीसीएस सिस्टम, चॉइस बेस्ड क्रेडिट सिस्टम जब लागू हुआ, उसमें ये बेसिक बात चॉइस के ऊपर ध्यान गई थी, लेकिन चॉइस के बावजूद भी, सीबीसीएस के बावजूद भी लिमिटेड नंबर ऑफ पेपर्स ही उसको अवेलेबल थे। अभी यहाँ पर ये कहा है कि नंबर ऑफ पेपर्स वो कितने भी ले सकता है, और एक साथ ले सकता है। और उसमें यूजीसी ने भी अभी 2 साल से ये कहना शुरू कर दिया है कि एटलीस्ट 20% उसको मूक्स के थ्रू लेना चाहिए। मूक्स एक पोर्टल ऐसा बना दिया है जिसमें बहुत सारे सब्जेक्ट उसके, तो अपनी चॉइस का कोई सब्जेक्ट मूक के थ्रू वो ले सकता है, साइमल्टेनियस ले सकता है। और तीसरी इंपॉर्टेंट बात कही है उसमें कि हम स्टूडेंट जो है किसी कारण से, माना उसको 6 महीने का कोई ये कोर्स करना है जो उसके कैरियर के लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, वो करना चाहता है, लेकिन उसको छूट नहीं है अपने जो कोर्स वो कर रहा है उसमें से। अभी तक ये स्थिति रहती थी, वो उसमें से लीव ले सकता है एक डेफिनेट पीरियड की, 6 महीने की, साल भर की, अपने कोर्स के। जैसे माना 4 ईयर कोर्स है या 3 ईयर डिग्री कोर्स है, तो उस 3 इयर्स में से माना उसने 6 सेमेस्टर के जो क्रेडिट्स अर्न कर लिए, रिमेनिंग क्रेडिट्स अर्न करने के लिए वो लीव लेकर के, और वो अपना कुछ और काम करके, या उसकी फैमिली की पर्सनल कोई ऐसी प्रॉब्लम हो गई, उसको ओवरकम करके वो वापस आकर के अपने क्रेडिट अर्न कर सकता है। तो रिमेनिंग क्रेडिट अर्न करना, तो पुराने क्रेडिट क्या होंगे, तो नेशनल क्रेडिट बैंक बनाया जाएगा। स्टूडेंट नेशनल क्रेडिट बैंक के अंदर अपने क्रेडिट जमा करेगा, लीव लेगा, वापिस आएगा, उन क्रेडिट्स को उपयोग करेगा, नए क्रेडिट ऐड करके अपनी डिग्री पूरा करेगा। तो ये रेजिमेंटेशन तोड़ना और चॉइस को बढ़ाना, वाइडन करना, ये एक इम्पॉर्टेंट बात है। और आउट ऑफ फैकल्टी चॉइस ले सकता है व्यक्ति। आर्ट्स की कोई सब्जेक्ट वो पढ़ सकता है, साइंस वाला व्यक्ति, या आर्ट्स वाला व्यक्ति साइंस या कॉमर्स के कोई सब्जेक्ट पढ़ सकता है। ऐसी स्टेक होल्डर्स के लिए, पर्टिकुलरली स्टूडेंट्स के लिए इसमें एक महत्वपूर्ण व्यवस्था की गई है। तो पर्पज ऑफ एजुकेशन यदि पूर्ण होना है, जिसको मैंने कहा कि हैंड, हेड एंड हार्ट की एजुकेशन यदि देनी है, तो क्यूरिकुलम हमारा वैसा ही होना चाहिए। और इसलिए फोकस जॉब ओरिएंटेड की बजाय फोकस सेल्फ एंड सोसाइटी फोकस यदि स्टूडेंट का होगा, तो उसके लिए वैसे ही क्यूरिकुलम बनाएंगे। और क्यूरिकुलम में बेसिक सब्जेक्ट की बातें होंगी, नई रिसर्च आने वाली जो है वो होंगी। और दूसरी बात है कि उसमें बाकी विषयों को जो अभी तक हम एक्स्ट्रा क्यूरिकुलर कह करके छोड़ देते थे, उनके भी क्रेडिट मिलेंगे। फॉर एग्जाम्पल सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम में बहुत अच्छा है कोई स्टूडेंट, वो किसी प्रकार की स्पोर्ट्स एक्टिविटी में बहुत अच्छा है, नाट्य कला में अच्छा है, ऐसी डिफरेंट प्रतियोगिताएं हैं, ऐसे राइटिंग है, वाद विवाद प्रतियोगिता है, ये जो एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर छूट के गए थे उनके भी क्रेडिट्स मिलेंगे। तो बच्चे अपने सब प्रकार के उसमें विकास करने की उसको यदि छूट रहेगी तो ये सब विषय भी वो ले सकता है साइमल्टेनियसली। केवल कुछ विषयों को क्रैम्प करके और केवल उसकी ओर जाना ऐसा नहीं है, अपने पर्सनल कुछ लेकर तो अपने निर्माण कर सकता है। क्यूरिकुलम चाहिए 8वीं क्लास को थोड़ा
Sir, your voice is interrupted. Please check your internet connectivity, sir. Hello.
Is it now?
Professor Singh, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, your voice is breaking, sir.
Okay, it must be internet problem now.
Yes,
I
sir.
have changed the
Yes.
network
Now you are
also. Is it not audible?
yes, sir, you are
Okay.
audible.
सो ये जो हमारे देश के अंदर 64 आर्ट्स जो कहा गया, आर्ट्स का मतलब केवल आर्ट सब्जेक्ट नहीं है, उसमें मैथ्स भी है, कारपेंट्री भी है, फाउंड्री, पोट्री, पेंटिंग, स्कल्पचर, म्यूजिक, ये सब है, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री भी है उसमें, ये सब आर्ट्स के रूप में ही थे। बाद में हमने साइंस के रूप में जानना शुरू किया और ये माना कि साइंस जो है वो दुनिया में बाहर से ही आई है। तो भारतवर्ष का जो नॉलेज है उसको पिछड़ गया, वो पीछे छूट गया। तो भारतवर्ष का जो नॉलेज है, इस नॉलेज को हम क्यूरिकुलम में एक अच्छे स्थान दें और आगे उस पर रिसर्च हो सके, इस प्रकार का हम लोगों को व्यवस्था करनी चाहिए हमारे क्यूरिकुलम में। ऐसा इसमें कुल मिलाकर के इस एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के अंदर एक सजेशन आया है। वित्त व्यवस्था के विषय में भारतवर्ष में जो पिछले वर्षों के अंदर 90 दशक के से लेकर के आगे तक जो 20-30 वर्षों में हुआ है, वो टोटल कमोडिटी बेस्ड हो गया। एजुकेशन का मतलब ये हो गया कि क्वालिटी एजुकेशन मीन्स जो ज्यादा पैसे खर्च कर सके उसको क्वालिटी एजुकेशन मिलेगा। क्वालिटी एजुकेशन सबके लिए आवश्यक होना चाहिए, किसी के पास पैसा है या नहीं है। इसलिए फाइनेंसिंग ऑफ एजुकेशन इस प्रकार से हो कि जिसमें गवर्नमेंट भी ज्यादा अपना एक्सपेंडिचर करे, उसमें ज्यादा इन्वेस्ट करे, साथ ही साथ जो प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं वो प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेंट्स बिजनेस के लिए नहीं, फिलैंथ्रोपिक अप्रोच लेकर के एजुकेशन में इन्वेस्ट करें। ये एक विषय गवर्नमेंट ने और इसमें एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में कहा गया है कि लोगों के अंदर स्वाभाविक रूप से भारत के लोगों में कुछ न कुछ सोसाइटी के लिए देने की प्रवृत्ति रही है। आज देने का मतलब है कि मुझे कुछ प्राप्त करना है, स्वार्थ बेस्ड हो गया। इस अप्रोच को डिनाई करते हुए लोगों की फिलैंथ्रोपिक अप्रोच जो है उसको बढ़ाना चाहिए और इसमें गवर्नमेंट के लेवल पर भी कुछ इन लोगों को इनिशिएटिव देने की आवश्यकता है। तो यदि कोई इन्वेस्ट करता है एजुकेशन में तो उसको 100% टैक्स एग्जेम्पशन भी मिलना चाहिए। क्राउड फंडिंग जो है इसको इनिशिएट करना चाहिए एटसेट्रा। और जो हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज वगैरह हैं, बहुत अच्छे इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट हैं, वो तो करते हैं, लेकिन इन जनरल CSR के लिए कोई करता नहीं है, कम करते हैं। इस अप्रोच को बढ़ाने की आवश्यकता है। तो इन जनरल सेंट्रल लेजिस्लेशन ला करके ये जो मार्केटिंग है एजुकेशन की, इसको बंद करने की आवश्यकता है। और मैंने ये कहा था कि जो प्रशासनिक व्यवस्था है वो बदलने की बात है, तो उसमें स्कूल एजुकेशन से लेकर हायर एजुकेशन तक 5+3+3+4 की व्यवस्था ये लेकर के व्यवस्था करना। 3 से 8 साल में 2 ग्रेड, 8 से 11 में 3, 11 से 14 में 3 और 14 से 18 में 4, ऐसे अप टू 12th। वो 18 साल का जब होता है बच्चा तो अप टू 12th करके आगे फिर वो कोर्सेज में जाए। आगे जब कोर्सेज में जाता है, जिस भी इंस्टीट्यूशन में जाएगा वो सब इंस्टीट्यूशन मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी टाइप की होंगी। मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी होंगी तभी उसकी चॉइस बढ़ेगी। और इसलिए आफ्टर टोटल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ दिस पॉलिसी, जिसके बारे में एम कहा गया है कि यदि हम कॉमा फुल स्टॉप से A to Z सब इसके सजेशंस यदि मानते हैं तो 2040 में ये टोटल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी इम्प्लीमेंट हो जाएगी। तब तक फेज्ड मैनर में जितने स्टैंड इंस्टीट्यूशन हैं उनको बंद होना पड़ेगा, इधर वो बंद हो जाएंगे या वो आप मल्टी डिसिप्लिन में कन्वर्ट होंगे मत। और ये बड़ा चेंज है, दिस इज ए पैराडाइम शिफ्ट। और कहा कि 3 का
Hello, Professor Singh. Again, your voice is interrupted. Hello, Professor Singh. You are not audible properly. Yes, sir. Hello. Hello, Professor Singh.
Is it okay? Is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what is the time given to me? Should I complete now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I say there are so many points to be discussed in detail, but this education policy is basically based on the principle that quality students should come out from quality institutions. That is the motto, and the total system should be Bharat centric system. And there are some many other details of this institution. I think that can come, if you want, that can come in the form of questions. But because you say my time is over, I complete the talk, and I would just again thank you very much, and thank you all of you for the patience listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Kailash Singh. Now, thank you for your wonderful deliberation. आपने बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से नई शिक्षा नीति की सभी दिशाओं के ऊपर रोशनी डाली। और अभी मैं हमारे जो नेक्स्ट स्पीकर ऑनरेबल वाइस चांसलर मोहनलाल सुखादिया यूनिवर्सिटी उदयपुर राजस्थान जी को रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा अपने विषय के ऊपर मत रखने के लिए। Now I would like to request Professor Dharmendra Singh Sengar ji for his talk. Professor Sengar, the floor is yours. Hello, Professor Sengar. Can you hear me, Professor Sengar? Hello, Professor Sengar, you are not audible. What do you want? Please bear with us. I hope there is some problem from Professor Singer's side. Sir, please check your audio. Please bear with us. Professor Singer is joining, try to joining. Professor Singer, you are visible, but your audio is not clear. So there is some problems of the side of Professor Sengar. Now I would like to request Mr. Shubham Das for take some questions for Miss for Dr. Ghosh, for Dr. Ghoshal, for Dr. Rakhi Ghoshal, and if you have some questions from for Professor Kailash Singh. Sorry, Professor Kailash Singh. Over to you, Professor Shubham sir.
There are 2 or 3 questions for Dr. Rakhi Ghoshal. One question is from SK Imran.
Yes,
the
sir.
government has announced a rupees 50 lakh cover for health workers involved in the fight against COVID-19. Officials have said the 50 lakh cover is for accidental loss of life. Is this accidental insurance or life insurance then? What happens if a health worker needs medical treatment? The finance ministry has said the cover is for 3 months. What happens if the pandemic extends beyond 3 months? Over to you, Dr. Ghoshal.
Thank you for the question. It is not really related to the talk I gave, but I will just put in my opinions that given the challenges of the resources we have, the government has tried to step in and help us, saying that they will give a cover for 3 months. As and when the pandemic refuses to subside, I am hopeful that the government will widen the cover for the healthcare workers, because definitely they are in the forefront and they need our support. So I am with you on that side. and hoping along with you that the cover be extended beyond 3 months. That's my response. Any
Thanks,
next
ma'am.
question?
Another question is from Alex Hodai. Do you think that domestic violence against women during COVID pandemic is solely engineered by their male counterparts?
I have already questioned saying that no, not at all. It is a question of power. So oftentimes even females will be doing violence on other females, mother-in-law on the daughter-in-law. So it is a question of who has more power within the family and is more and is trying to take out that in the form of authority over another person. So it can be females. That is my response.
Ma'am, the last question is from my side.
Yes.
We know that male dominant mindset has its deep root in our patriarchal social structure. Do you think
Yes.
the time has come for the introduction of universal sex education and gender sensitization program from the school level to change the mindset of our present society and future generations as well?
Absolutely, I'm totally in agreement with you, Mr. Dash. I completely agree that the time has not just come, but it has gone past by. So, sex education is absolutely vital to be introduced at the school level. There have been studies in other LMICs, low resource countries, which have shown that if we start with the children at a very young age, we start talking about sex, safe sex, gender, violence. There are positive changes which happen within children when they are young, and then we can expect that when they grow up to be adults, of course there will be a better outlook, a better mindset, a positive mindset towards gender issues, towards violence, and we will be part of a healthier society, healthier in the sense of a mental well-being, a psychological well-being. So I completely agree with you. It is time for us to do that. We are already late probably. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, ma'am, for responding all the questions. Now I would like to invite Professor Kailash Sharma to receive 2 or 3 questions from our participant side.
Hello. Hello.
Now Professor Sengar is joining with us. Thank you, Professor Sengar. Now you are audible.
Okay. I'm also visible.
Yes, sir, you are visible also.
So should I start or you are taking still session questions?
No, sir, no, sir. Because of your internet trouble, we are starting the question answer session. Now we are okay with you.
Okay. So first of all, let me begin with this just saying thank you to the organizing committee and especially to Professor Vikram that he has given an opportunity to interact with you people and the organizing committee, overall all members. And thank you for all coming over to join this webinar. And a special thanks and personal regard to the Professor Kailash Sharma ji. I have personal regard and he has given a lot of information about this education policy, the principles, and all these things here. So I have I just want to share my discussion in a way in the form of question answer session, which I had recently had with one professor, and it is in the form of a question. Whatever questions, rather you can say, they are the suspicion about the education policy and how I have replied them. That I want to share with you. A senior professor working in a university, and he had been the vice-chancellor of the university. He was suspecting about the education policy on three points. First of all, he said that the government had made a provision for the funding. It is 6% of the budget, 6% of the GDP. And he said he suspected because he said it happened in past also. And the Kothari Commission report failed on the count. So he said, although the government has intention, but it is not actionable, so it will fail. Second question, he asked me that the government had changed the Department of MSRD to the Department of Education. what is the purpose, what they are going to get out of it. And third was a question about that how this language, why they are making compulsory, that's like a mother tongue or the local language. So I replied this question in a way, and that I want to be part of this discussion here. I said, Professor, you are talking about this the budget, and you're suspecting. I say I believe in the leadership. I have seen and I have observed that he has a proven track record of what he's promising to the nation. He's fulfilling it. So don't see from the angle of failure, because your belief system is based on your perception is based on your belief system, which is a failure, and you should change it. You should forget about the past, which is a failed. You should focus on the future, which is bright. And once you change your perception, which is based on the failed system or the negative system, you'll find a difference here. We are sure the government will make efforts because it is a government intention. It is not a government, the act, which is just like a enforcing court of law. It is simply an intention. It is a vision of the country for the higher education, and vision must be inspiring. It should give a lot of motivation to citizens of the country. They should come forward and join hands to each other and to take the country to new heights. So I said it is a, if you have any idea, we are open. The government of India is open to incorporate to make the education policy more effective here. But don't go with the negative perception that what has failed in the past, it will happen the same thing in present and future also. So first of all, I convinced him that the intention should be very high, it should be inspiring to the nation, and education is the basis, it is the plinth of the nation. So we should not have the low intention, or you can say the chota irada. Bada irada. I remember my mother used to say कि छोटा इरादा पाप होता है. That is also in the terms of the nation also. देश का इरादा बड़ा है शिक्षा के बारे में, और इसको किसी भी तरह से किसी फेलियर की सामना नहीं करना पड़ेगा. This is my observation. Second question he is asking about that why government of India has changed the name from MHRD to the Education Ministry. I say that I am happy to share with you also that one of my primary school teacher, he said that he was asked about the education policy. A person who is in film industry was asked about the education policy. So I mean, if the government of India is making such a broad, the publicity about this take for the purpose of taking feedback, so why should not make it simple? MHRD, I'm saying Manav Sansadhan Vikas Mantralaya, I'm saying why we should not simplify the education. The purpose is here to simplify, and simple things go in deep. Simple things stay for a long time. It's very, very difficult to remember these difficult words, and people are losing interest because of the complexity in the language and also in the communication here. I have convinced him by saying that this is a very wise decision to make things simple, because this is not only for the higher education, it talks about this the whole education system. It starts from primary school to the university education. So this is the, I think, wise decision to change the name of the ministry from the MHRD to the education. Third question he asked, very, very interesting, is talking about that the language. He said, what is the purpose of changing the language, the formula here? And the institution are teaching and the medium they like, and the students are attending institution they like here. Why the government of India is interfering in this teaching, in the primary school up to 8th class in the local language or mother tongue? I try to convince this professor by saying that, the mother tongue is not only a language. It reflects his social, it reflects his, the psychological, it reflects his, the personal, the personal quality of the child here. It's reflecting his, credibility that from which society is coming, what type of parenting he has. And I gave very good example to say that the results of the survey, that the surveys are very different surveys are saying that the students who are learning in the mother tongue or the local language, they are understanding the syllabus very well. Curriculum is more easy for them. They take more interest in studies. The results are very good. They are spending more time in school. They're less dropout. And the purpose of government is here to increase the enrollment. So this language itself is a helping, and the parents are very happy because they are also helping the children at home in terms of in completion of their homework. So language is not something imposing something; it is facilitating. If children are more convenient, more comfortable in learning in the mother tongue or local language. And I still remember one instance that in IIM, just like I am teaching. I had been the professor at nine of the last 2 decades, and see, it is a strong observation what I have seen that in order to maintain the class very vibrant, we give them group assignments. And during the group assignment, as a professor, we keep on watching the behavior, how the students behave in a team, how they behave with each other, and how they discuss. I don't talk to them, I simply listen. And during that object, I have observed that even the students coming from very good institutions, they are topper in IITs, and they are, they're discussing something, they start discussing in English, very good English they speak, and they keep on talking. But at the end, I have observed when some ideas given by the students are not taken care, I have seen the student वो अपना कुर्सी पर से खड़ा हो जाता है, कहता है ये क्यों नहीं लिखते हैं आप मेरी आइडिया को, ये आइडिया कितना अच्छा है. तो आई वांट टू कम्युनिकेट हियर कि वो जो कहते हैं कि जब उसकी बात कोई सुनता नहीं है, and then he want to be assertive, he want to persuasive, he use the mother tongue. So this is the power of mother tongue, because he's speaking by the heart, and this when you speak by the heart, it goes to the heart. And that's why I remember the words of Nelson Mandela. He once said that if you talk to a person in the language he understands, it goes to his head. But if you talk to a person in the language, he is his mother tongue. If you talk to him in the mother tongue, it goes to the heart. Same way, students say कि सर जो चीज हम हिंदी में पढ़ते हैं वो दिल में उतर जाती है, दिल में उतर जाती है. So these are the observations which I have shared with the professor, and I leave the professor that please take care that when you have any idea about education policy, please share. It's not a closed topic, it is still open. You can give a positive, creative suggestions in the interest of the nation, in the interest of generation. The government of India is open to modify, to input some provision, to modify some provision, to amend it. But it must focus on the nation, it must focus on the nation. It must be very creative, it must be very constructive. So these are the observations which I have shared with the professor, who has a very negative approach to the education policy and is very, the pessimistic that one. So I have tried to convince him. I think I will be successful, but the old habits die hard. If one has a negative approach or attitude, and he is a critical approach, is always like suspicious, it is very, very difficult to change it. Old habits die hard. So this is the one aspect which I want to share with you on this forum. And second aspect, I want to share with you the role of IIM in the higher education system or in the development of the nation. Friends, I want to share that I start my career from a high school. Then I moved to the Academy of Administration. I was teaching IAS and IPS officers. And then I was invited by the IIM Lucknow to establish a new department, which is known as Legal Management Department. IIM Lucknow, the first IIM in the country to have this idea of legal management here. So I teach these students, I do not teach, rather, I create awareness about the role of life management. And the purpose is here that the IIMs are known. Of course, Sharma ji recently said that I totally agree with him that IIMs are known for placement here. Students, the moment that the day they enter into the campus, they are sure about the job, and that's where they start studying, and accordingly, an institution is also working for them. But always I have found that there's some professors, some directors, they always care that what is our duty to the nation also. And that is why we keep on doing some program for the school teachers. We keep on training the teachers, we keep on training the faculties, how to teach, how to make the class vibrant, how to make the class more interactive. what are the ways to involve the classes. So this is the role that we keep on doing to educating and training the teachers in terms of the research methodology. Secondly, that if you remember that IIM Lucknow, my friend, correct, he's the director of the IIM Indore, is looking after the traffic management system of Uttar Pradesh. The professors of IIM who is looking after the traffic management system of Uttar Pradesh. You can see you can understand the role of a professor who's teaching not only students to work in industries, but he's also caring for the nation, he's also caring for the state. Same way, our focus on the research is that its product, it should be used to the development of the society, development of the state, and that's why, and our credibility is known to the whole world. The World Bank, the government of India, they giving the projects to evaluate, and our evaluation has been accepted all over the world. This is the credibility, this is the honesty, this is the competency that we have earned in so many years here. So I want to say that the IIMs are not only involved in producing the managers for the industries, but they're working hard for the nation also. Recently, I think a professor from IIM had joined the RBI team to suggest the government of India on some issues here. So these institutions, of course, the agenda is totally different, object is totally different, but we have not forgotten our duty towards nation, to the society. And I wish to share one or two cases where I was instrumental to inculcate a sense of responsibility among students to the society. I remember in 2007, it was World Poverty Day. I took a team of my students to the small village adjacent to the island. Actually, it's not a village, but they are actually flood victims there. And I along with my students, were there, and we are keep on talking to the issues, the villagers. And among these issues, I have asked these villagers that tell us one issue which we can work on it. And ultimately, they have shared that this village is not having electricity. I am very much aware that this village is can be electrified because there's a lot of the government officers whom I have taught. Many IS officers were in Lucknow whom I have taught, and I will get the work done. But when I approached this officer, they said sorry because this is not a village on the map of the government, so it cannot be covered under any government scheme. Meanwhile, I remember that the IIM Lucknow, as a professor, I was chairman of student affairs. I used to, developing a sense of, transparency and accountability in the system, which they used to conduct the student event in IIM. And in that event, I have collected rupees 55,000 rupees as a fine for not observing the institution norms and not giving the accounting of the money analysis. This money was used to rectify that village. So you can understand that how I involved the student as a professor of IIM, which is known for the only providing job to industries. A professor sitting in IIM has taken to student to village to inculcate not observing institution norms. So by that way, they learn how to the observe the transparency when they're learning at IIM. So we are trying to develop the students in such a way that they should know something here. They must commit mistake here. We are here to help them. So that is why I want to share with you that IIMs and I have experience of an IIM. They're working for the nation, they're working for the society, and they are working for the generations here. The Ola is a, if you see the taxi for sure, it is a creation of our students, and it is bought by the Ola. So this type of the big ideas which is coming to serve the nation, that coming from the institutions like IITs and IIM. So we are not focused only for producing the managers for the industry, but we care for the nation, we care for the nation. So these are the small things that I want to share with you. And I want to take that another example also that our students are so much stressed we take care for them. We take to the village, we take to the schools, we take to the orphanage. We ask our students to play with them. So they have a feeling that students of IIM is like me also. So this is a developing confidence. And the extra society, they reach the people here, that develop a sense of confidence here, that I can also be the part of and the village I was instrumental to electrify. I used to go every year, and I used to motivate them that please work hard. I am with you. I crossed the boundary, study in Lucknow. So that's why I want to say this education policy is a very good, and it is successful. It is workable. It will achieve the goal because IMs are, I think, they're already observing many things which is a part of this new education policy. We are observing for we have tried and successfully implemented for last so many years. For example, in terms of the revamping the post curriculum. I still remember when I joined the IIM Lucknow, I was sent to the IIT. I was sent to the Bombay. I stayed in IIT Bombay. I met the industry people to take the feedback in terms of the course content. What is most relevant course content for for them. So we are keep on changing our course content, keeping in view that what is good for the employer in terms of employment and what is good for the nation also. But we are introducing in terms of the public policy, the ethical issues, communication, the negotiation. These things are not for industry only. They're not industry for business here. They are going to help in this personal and professional life here also. In the same way, we are teaching the student in a way that they get interested. Our job as a professor of law in management school is not to teach law like a law school. We don't, because I know that they are not going to become the judges or advocate here. They want to be responsible manager. They should be taught in a way that they should have an interest in law and respect for the law. When they are thinking about the business advantage or the profit maximization, they must care. They are not violating the law. They must know their responsibility. They must know their duties. So they should not be in any problem here. So we teach in a way that how they can avoid the legal risk, how they can minimize the legal risk, and how they can have the confidence to communicate to the advocate in case of some legal issue arise. So we are teaching them in a way that they should become a manager and they can work any part of the world. We prepare to them work any part of the world. So this is the rigorous exercise in IIMs, and we are following everything which is already in the government policy, education policy here. This in terms of the research, we are promoting research in a way that we are encouraging that professors are not be promoted unless until they get the best type of the research publications here. And in the same way, the students evaluate the professors. I got a professorship only based on the feedback by the student here. So we care for them. So we are not confined to the class only. We try to develop interest in subjects so that they should go beyond the classroom. They should go beyond the syllabus here. So that's why this education policy is a very good, because it is a very inspiring policy. It is institutions are known for inspiration and innovations, because it is creating some sort of infrastructure, academic ambience, which will promote the good quality of the faculty. And this quality is good quality. A professor will produce the good quality students here, empowered students, who will place the university, which will place the institution on the global map by the achievement, by their the initiatives, by the contributions here. So the institutions, the higher education policy, basically what I institute here under the part of the education policy here, it is a very good in sense of that it is a lot of autonomy for the professors. Even in IIM, I think sometimes I not meet my director for 5-6 months here, because I keep on doing my duty here. And total liberty, we're getting funding for the research. We have the lot of money in terms of visiting foreign countries or even India to showcase our potential, showcase our achievement to the seminars and conferences here. We get funding from the institutions to have the infrastructure at our home here. So government is planning in a way that it is funding and financing to the faculty in a way that they should be creative, more innovative, and in the same way, it is our duty as a professor to identify the empowered students. We should try to understand them that they are interested in something more, something better, and something sustainable. And we should try to motivate them with in a way that they should have creative ideas. And then these creative ideas are funded to develop some sort of a paper or some sort of innovation, and that is leading to become a good good faculty also. Because when they get interested in the research, they keep on motivating. One of my, I think currently I have four of my students, they are professors in IIM. The student whom I taught in my first batch, the four students are the professor in IIM, they're my colleague here. And that is the reason that if you are a good faculty, you can produce good faculty also. Identify the students who are ready to work hard, who think differently, and who are always looking for the opportunities. They're not getting activated when the opportunity comes, but they're ready to get opportunity. So if we are able to identify such students, and we are finding that they have some creative ideas, and we should fund these ideas. We should give some, the moral support. We should mentor them. We should give the financial support to carry forward these ideas into action. And we should also motivate them that what the advantage of becoming faculty. Like I was Fulbright fellow in USA and the Sastre Fellow University of Calgary, and I told him that what are the advantages of becoming a good faculty here by my own example. And I was able to convince students that they left the industry and they joined the IIMs. So that is why this new education policies are focusing, the innovation. It is very inspiring, the education policy here, and I think it is fulfilling the purpose that we Indian, we should think in our own language. We should be more creative. We should have a respect for the law. We should have respect for constitutional goal. We should have ethical values. We should have moral, the inclination. So these are the intention of this policy. This is a very good idea that the government has to come forward with these ideas. And I am sure that the country will be successful in achieving the objectives policy here. And we are already known to the world that have emerged as a global economy. We have developed, going to emerge as a education leader. And we are moving very fast in the digital economy and internet era. So these are my few words, and I am very, 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 optimistic that we will be successful in implementing our education policy because it is done with good intention. I said the professor again, I just remind you, there may be error of judgment, but there is no error of intention. Country want, leadership is giving. It is our duty how we should support. We should not suspect the intention. Intention is very clear. There may be error of judgment. The Supreme Court of India has given wrong judgments, and they have been corrected. So we have the policy open. If you come forward, we are going to welcome your suggestions to improve them to make this education policy successful. And later on, I told them, being a professor of law, I told the example of a law contract. Those who know there's an offer and acceptance in the contract here, and sometimes the supplier is supplying the item to reach the destination on particular time. But on the way, if there's some situation arise that items are not reaching the destination, let's suppose that it has been delivered. If even the education policy is not implemented in 100%, at least some institution will come forward to adopt it and accept it here, and they will become the leader, they will become the motivator, and that is the purpose. We cannot get all things in one go. We can have first intention and then action, then the move, and then its destination. These are my few words, and thank you for all your cooperation. You all are listening here, you're giving your precious time, you're understanding my importance, you're giving value to me also. So I respect you all, and thank you for. If you have any question, please ask me. But I generally quote my mother, and I still remember that what she used to say, बेटा जिंदगी में छोटा इरादा पाप होता है, यानी इरादा ऊंचा रखो. यही हमारी सरकार का इरादा है, सरकार का इरादा है ऊंचा रखो. ये हमारे लिए वरदान है, एक वरदान है. थैंक यू.
Thank you, Professor Dharmendra Singh ji, for your wonderful and thought-provoking deliberation on the new education policy. आपने हर उस दिशा पर रोशनी डालने की कोशिश की जो हमारी आने वाली शिक्षा व्यवस्था के ऊपर एक अच्छी छात्र छात्राओं को एक अच्छी सोच प्रदान करेगा. अभी मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा प्रोफेसर शुभम दास को आपके लिए क्वेश्चन आंसर कि सेशन को आगे बढ़ाएं।
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, there is one question from SK Imran as well as from Isru Reddy. Is
Okay.
new education policy in India is effective for the children of SC/ST caste?
Yeah, I think it's very effective. Hello, you getting it?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please.
Okay. I think that if you read this education policy very carefully, there is a special provision for such classes here, and that's why they want to have a good institution very close to every district here. But the real problem is not the caste. The real problem is the economic conditions. If a students have sufficient means, he can move anywhere. But if he is not having financial resources, he cannot move here. So the taking institution to the village or near to the home, that is the objective policy here. Successful. Because you know that once you have intention, the action can be taken. And this intention is that there is intention in the policy here that the India is caring for everybody. Indian education policy is caring for every student here. The purpose is here, and that's why efforts have been made. The provision has already made in the policy here. Now, subject is that how it is implemented. Of course, I want to share here an interesting story that when I was delivering a talk in New York, was World Environment Day. And one advocate from the Supreme Court, he asked me, Professor Sengar, India is known for too many laws to make justice. I accepted it. You know that the real issue is implementation. How it can be implemented effectively. The ideas are very good. नीति अच्छी है, अगर नियत भी अच्छी है तो चीजें पूरी हो जाती है। तो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन जो है गवर्नमेंट देखिए, गवर्नमेंट जो है हर एक चीज को चाहती है, लेकिन what is the duty of the people, public, how they are coming forward? It is not only political will, it should be also the people's will. I have seen when I was in Harvard Law School, I thought that from where I should go. So I came back to my village. I took a small piece of land. I'm going to start a school there to teach them. That from this village I have come, I got the best fellowship of the world. I wrote a book released by President of India, Abdul Kalam Sahab. So, but the people should come forward. But I have seen in my village, people are not very much inclined. They are more busy talking the politics. They are more busy, enjoying the personal life. They're not making any sacrifice the children. So I want to say, in spite of that, you have the very good institution, but there should be motivation from the parents to send the children, and that's with success story. So I think the provision for the SC/ST or any weaker section, the provision is already there. Implementation, we should have to wait for this one. Thank you. Any other question?
Yes, sir. The next question is from Vikram Mahapatra.
Yeah.
Whether some state government like West Bengal and Kerala can confuse to adopt the new education policy in spirit. If such a situation arises, what is to be done?
So we should first of all not accept the failure, and we should be very optimistic that they will accept it because it's a good thing. It may take some time, because if you care for the nation, if you care for the generation, everybody will accept it. Accept the political agenda that it is a BJP policy. If it is implemented, people will like it and they will not give the vote to political party. All this is here. It should not be. I think even I have my good friend who is different, different ideology, but he accept when I talk to person. He said, मैं तो पसंद करता हूँ सरकार को, लेकिन क्या करें? मेरा एफिलिएशन किसी दूसरी पार्टी से है. So if I will start appreciating this government, then I will be the part of this government. So some people may oppose it for the purpose of opposition, but good thing prevails. Just like truth जो होता है, you cannot hide for long term. It will come up. I still remember I generally quote, when I was a child, I asked my mother that ये सत्य क्या होता है? तो बोलती कि सत्य वही होता है जो ज्यादा टिकता है, जो सबके लिए कॉमन होता है. And she had put some drop of the oil on the water in a small bottle, and then she said, "Why not shake it?" उसको खूब उन्होंने कहा कि इसको हिलाओ, बताओ कि देखो क्या हो रहा है. तो देखा तेल ऊपर से आता है, तो यही सत्य है। जो अच्छा है, जो सबके लिए अच्छा है, वही सत्य है। जो भला है, जो लाभकारी है, जो गुणकारी है, सबके लिए है, वो सबके लिए अच्छा है। सरकारें जो है रोक सकती हैं चंद्रमा को या सूरज को, रोक पाया है आजकल। कोई घड़ी, अपनी घड़ी बंद कर सकते हैं आपने, लेकिन दुनिया की घड़ी नहीं बंद कर सकते हैं। तो you can stop it for the personal gain, or you can suspect it for some different reasons here. But if your intention is clear, your intent is to for nation and the generation, the people will accept it. It may take some time. Thank you.
Another question is from Kirosahu.
Pardon?
Can new education policy reduce the dropout rates in school education up to 10th standard?
I totally agree. I think it was a part of my discussion also, because when you teach the student in their mother tongue or local language, they understand well, they grasp well, they are enjoying, they stay a long time, and they're not scared to go to school. They get support from the parents also, because they understand the language and they help them in completing homework. So once you're getting the interest, if you love someone, you never divorce. How you drop? Why you drop? When you love it, never think about divorcing. So that's why if you teach them in a way, it becomes interesting, it becomes understandable, it becomes useful, and they enjoy it. They share it with other friends here. They understand what is the purpose of this education. We're not giving the education in big jargons in English here. We teach them in the mother language. And mother language is not only, it is identity of the child. It is the cultural identity, it is a social identity, it's personal identity of the child, the language. And so that's why I think the decision to teach the students, up to the earth and to other and to next level also, if the institution are accepting it here, it's a wise decision, because we think in the language which is spoken by the parents, which is spoken by the teachers after the classroom, and this is the mother language. I have seen the toppers in IIT. I told you already, the students are discussing when I have seen when they're discussing the mess, when they're in the sport ground, they speak language, because they want to communicate very easily, very effectively, by heart. They want to make an impact. They do not want to simply impress by communication. They want to leave the words in the heart, and that is the mother tongue. That's why this is a very good idea. Government has thought it. It's a very good thought and very good intention, and it is a positive attitude also, because they start thinking in the language. They start speaking the same language. There's no gap. It's like when you speak something and think differently, it's like a credibility. You're not a credible person. You think in English, Hindi, they speak in English, there's a gap in communication also. So if the children learn one language, which is a mother tongue, the subject, they can also learn other subject also. Because it becomes a basis. When they understand, I still remember one a girl in IIM, she told me my father was bringing the Chanda Mama, both in English and Hindi, because this language, it was spoken in the family. So she used to read the Chanda Mama in Hindi, and then for the parents share that you should also read it. So I think the Hindi and English went together, but she absorbed very quickly the Chanda Mama in Hindi, and accordingly she got interested to learn English. So this mother tongue is also developing interest in other language also. I think this is a very good idea, and a dropout rate will be reduced, of course, because the students will be interested, they will be more successful, there will be more enrollment, there will be less dropout.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for answering all the questions. Now, I would like to request Professor Baidar Das for the vote of thanks. Over to you, Professor Baidar Das. Over to you, Professor Baidar Das.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes, sir. You are,
Thank you.
yes, sir. Are you are,
Thank you, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Hello?
yes,
yeah.
sir.
Thank you,
Please
sir.
continue, sir. Please continue.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. I
Good
am
afternoon.
honored and lucky to have the opportunity to give a formal vote of thanks for this section. First of all, I would like to thank our esteemed guest, Dr. Rakhi Ghoshal, for her insightful discussion on the sensitive issue like domestic violence and healthcare issues in India. I would also like to give my happy thanks to Professor Kailash Sharma and Professor Dharmendra Singh Sengar for their thought-provoking presentation on new education policy in India. I extend my happy thanks to Dr. Vikram Jena, Director of CARD Odisha, for his friendly cooperation to organize this webinar. I would like to express my profound gratitude to our principal, Professor Kurukshetra, for his cooperation organizing this webinar. I would also like to thank convener Professor Sarachandra Pradhan, co-convener Mr. Shubham Das, coordinator Mr. Rudra Das, co-coordinator Ms. Payal Agrala for their support and guidance to organize this event. I am happy to express vote of thanks to all the participants, including lecturers, professors, students, civil society members who have made this webinar a grand success by sparing their valuable time with us. Thanking you all. Now meeting is concluded. The next section is started 4 p.m.
Thank you, Professor. By the